Hey, John, welcome to Crosswalk Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me. And as always, man, you've been great over the years. It's we've made sort of we've been on the bleeding edge of faith-based film, and
We,
you've been right there with us the whole way.
well, thank you so much. Well, let me tell people who you are, John. Of course, John's a director who has been behind movies that people have heard of, like Jesus Revolution, I Can Only Imagine, I Still Believe, on and on and on. John, you recently launched, you and a lady by the name of Kelly Merryman Hoogstraten, who's not with us today, but hopefully can be someday, recently launched what is called the Wonder Project. And it promises it's an independent studio that's going to make values driven entertainment for families. That's right down my alley. Tell me more about it, John. Why did you and Kelly want to launch this? And what is it?
That's a great question. You know, having having made many sort of faith-based films and values-based films, and just getting to know the audience and being part of the audience, um, we began to look at some of these studios we were working for, like Lionsgate, and deeply inspired by the idea that many of them are celebrating 100 years in business this year, 100 years of telling stories. And I began to get really inspired about a year and a half ago of like, I think that there's an opportunity. We talk about this question a lot. What can we do together that none of us can do alone? And while we had experience being a production company making, um, movies for various studios, you begin to think, I, I think it's possible to build one of those, to build a studio that could serve the audience that we love, and the production companies and artists in the space, and give them a level of freedom and resources that they have not had. And certainly we can partner with distributors and streamers and even other studios, but could we build something that could last? I think life is too short for small ideas and small dreams, and I just think that sometimes it's just like, if some of these entities have been telling stories for this long, why can't we dream that big? And what I noticed with myself and my brother and Dallas Jenkins and others is, if you give the leading creatives in this space freedom and resources to reach an audience that we know far better than a lot of the studios, then that's typically where the success happens. And so we just decided to start building a business and start raising capital, and start recruiting a team, which I've never seen a team this powerful, sort of assembled for an idea like this. And I just
Yeah.
think the time is now. I think that there's an opportunity for a leap forward, and for an almost declaration of independence,
Wow.
where we can build our own studio that hopefully, God willing, can really endure the test of time. It would just be amazing if the stories that we're making now could could create a place that could allow stories to be told, decades from now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, and let's talk about the money. I'm assuming Kelly's the one to really talk details about it, but we can, I guess, give the overview.
Sure.
You guys have already have 40. You already have $75 million in seed and Series A funding. I don't even know what all that means, but I know $75 million is a lot of money.
It's
So
a good start.
that's a good start. I'm curious what types of movies and TV shows, and I'm assuming it's also TV shows. What types of movies and TV shows will you be making? Would it be safe to say it's similar to what you've been doing in the past, except maybe more and bigger?
That's right. I think, and first of all, I'll get myself in trouble because, I'll say this. Um, I'm one of the creatives in the company, and the company is designed to give freedom, and resources, and empower and serve other creatives in the space. But for my own part, I'm working on projects that I've been dreaming of my entire career. Sort of like the if I could only do these stories, are the two franchises in both film and television that I'm launching into right now. And I hope to give that feeling to other people. I think what we've noticed is that the audience just wants more. They want a values based ecosystem. They want a single, sort of brand and destination that is completely unashamed and unafraid of faith-based stories like Jesus Revolution and the American dream, and the American experience. But they also want everything from, they just want their values infused into content that will pull their family back together again. And we don't consider faith a genre. It's a story, it's a set of values, but the values that Christianity rests upon, when infused into stories, are needed and universally appealing. And I think what people really want, what the audience wants, is a place where just more stories are being told, but these are stories that they can trust, that pull their family back together again, and draw us to the values that upon which Christianity is based. And I think that's what they want. So we want more, and we want it to all be together. And I think what people would consider faith-based stories or overtly Christian stories, which is, I carried around that Jesus Revolution magazine for 8 years trying to get that movie made, since I bought it on eBay, 50-year-old magazine. And we're proud and completely unashamed and unafraid of stories that are faith-based, but then also we want to be able to make, I'm a huge fan of American history, and there's just a lot of stories I want to tell. And then there's just a lot of, I loved movies like Wonder or Top Gun, or, there's a lot of movies that are missing typically in the market. And those are movies that would pull my family together, that we could watch together, that are incredibly entertaining in their genre, but that are infused with a set of values that I need in my own life and we need in our own family. And so we're creating a brand where all of that is possible.
Just realized you and I are wearing the same color shirt, John. So this is going to look really odd on this split screen.
I know,
which is fine, but that's okay.
You wear
that's
the
okay.
color of your eyes, though. You've got it. It's a smart
right.
thing to do. You look good in that shirt.
Thanks, John. The folks on podcasts have no idea what we're talking about here.
We're both wearing blue shirts.
We're both wearing blue.
Basically, the color of our eyes.
John, you are the chief content officer. Kelly is the CEO, and Dallas Jenkins is involved as well. So, what will Dallas's role be?
Dallas is an advisor to the brand, and a little bit of history. And he's going to be an executive producer on shows. He's helping curate the slate and curate content and draw other creatives in, and is really architecting this whole brand with me, and has been for. We started working on this together like 2 years ago. When I first had the idea, Dallas was the first creative that I took it to, and I was just blown away at what he had done in television. And my background had been in film, and we just felt like I like the story that one draft horse can pull about 8,000 pounds. If you put two together, they can pull 24,000, 32,000 if they train. And we had a common vision to create a destination where we could be free to create and allow that same freedom to be given to other people in the space. And so often you feel that you're serving this massive underserved audience. It's the largest global affinity group in the world. And then you know what works, what you need to do. And then you're trying to convince studios to sort of let you reach an audience that better than they do. And so you just wonder, like, why can't we create an entity like that can endure? And he really caught the vision for it. And so while he's completely dedicated, he's shooting a movie that I'm a producer on right now that I'm grateful to have helped on. Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It's going to be amazing. Beyond that, he's completely committed to The Chosen. As a huge fan, as we all are, I'm committed to him finishing that show. But in the meantime, he's really helping us architect both the slate and the company itself. And then we'll, direct content after he finishes with The Chosen.
I guess these are called values-based stories. So they could include faith, might not include faith, but they will always be based on hope and kindness. Is that the general theme?
Here's what we say is that we want to make stories that flood the world with hope. And we want to make stories that restore faith in things worth believing in. I think a lot of entertainment today chips away at faith, chips away at belief in things that are still worth believing in. Christianity is one of those things, but so is America, or entrepreneurism, or the family, or just a certain set of values on which Christianity rests. so I think we're living in a very cynical world where it's tough to know what to believe in. And if you watch a lot of the sort of the popular shows, especially, but also movies, you know, you find yourself sort of in a me versus everyone mindset where it's hard to know what to believe in. And so we talk about content that restores faith in things that are worth it, you know. And I have some obsessions, like the American Revolution is one of my obsessions in this country. As flawed as it is, it's worth believing in, you know.
Mm.
And so I think stories that would reinforce that are worth telling. And again, Christianity is life changing for me, and 2.5 billion people. And of course, we feel like the Bible is could be the next great world of stories to tell. But what I want and what I need in my home, this whole business started with just the question of like, I just feel like there's no safe destination. There's no brand really, as much that I can look to in a way that I completely trust. And so sometimes when you need something in your home that doesn't exist, and you need
Mm.
something with your family, the best thing to do is to go create it, you know. And I think some of the best companies are made that way. And there's so few experiences that I can take, you know, my wife, my kids, or like my daughter. I remember with Jesus Revolution, it was my wife and I, Kate, our daughter, and my parents. And we designed the film that way to be
Mm.
seen by multiple generations. And, you know, screens used to be this thing. You think of the days of the Carol Burnett show or I Love Lucy. They used to be something that just pulled us together as a community and as a family. Now screens tend to rip us apart, you know. And so the idea is to really get back to that original idea of a multi-generational experience that's values driven, and
Mm.
that's just more. It's what we've been doing, and then a
That's
whole lot
good.
more, and it's a whole lot more for a lot more creatives. And I just think that I learned when our son, who's 9 now, when he was 3, he had open heart surgery, and I had to drop out of the Steve McQueen documentary and put another director in my place, and so that I could be with Sam and Beth, and in a very difficult but very bonding time. And through that experience, I learned that I really loved empowering other filmmakers. That was just
Mm.
as fulfilling to me as doing the work myself. And I thought maybe we could scale this, and maybe I could tell the stories that I want to tell, that I would love to talk to you about, and we'll be able to soon. But also empower that experience for other filmmakers, and in doing so, create something that this is a very difficult industry that we work in, and so you want to create
Yeah.
something that's worth it. You know, in the end, to me, a company that can endure, that can outlive me and the other people founding it, is a really cool idea. And if other media entities have achieved that, for celebrating that this year, why can't we? You know, and wouldn't it be cool if we could create a studio that's telling stories about the Bible and values and American history and, you know, all these things, you know, a
Yeah.
century from now? That's just a cool idea.
You've had your hat in several companies, Kingdom Story. I know you were working with Angel for on a project. I mean, are all your balls in this new entity now? I mean, are you still doing working with other companies?
Well, what's cool about the entertainment industry, is each project is in essence its own
Okay.
entity and initiative. So while I'm completely, I mean, I've learned in the last year and a half, starting a studio is hard, you know, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And so it is of course 1,000% of my time and efforts, and I'm exclusive to it. But it creates you know, a way that we can collaborate on projects with Kingdom Story Company, which I am privileged to have co-founded, and you know, and you know, even studios like Lionsgate or others. But this is I'm always just about dreaming, you know, climbing forward, and dreaming bigger, and the dream of like, I think we can actually become the studio, just and empower companies like I founded before, like Kingdom Story Company, or individuals in the space like Dallas Jenkins or myself or others. Um, you know, just became an obsessive goal and quest, and I hope to create a place where projects can be, you know, where, to create a place big, sort of a platform big enough for a lot of the artists struggling in the space, that I guarantee you, I've seen it firsthand, I've felt it. If you will just give some of the voices in this space more resources, more support, more freedom, and eliminate a lot of the constraints that entities present, uh, what could be achieved is staggering. And
Mm.
and so that became the
Okay.
idea. So we'll collaborate across the board, and there's a lot of announcements coming on projects that are collaborative. But the goal is to create a level of independence where we can reach the audience directly and
What's what's the target date for your first release? Next year, year after?
so yeah, so we're
The
going to announce what we're working on shortly,
Okay.
which I'm really excited about. Dream projects,
Hmm.
and then our first set of projects will go into production in the first and second quarter of next year. We've been working on them for quite a while, and very
Hmm.
excited about. I was literally um, overseas prepping one last week, and then in the States prepping one the week before that,
Wow.
and I can't wait
Yeah.
to at some point I'm going to get myself in trouble because I'm going to talk too early about them, but
Yeah.
we're going to be able to announce them here shortly, and also I also think that I'm grateful to you, I'm grateful to the audience. um it's the support of the audience that has made this possible,
Yeah.
because we're finally able to get in the realm of resources where we can truly compete, with other studios, and it's just been an outstanding year. uh I loved that when we did Jesus Revolution, our whole goal was, hey, could Jesus be back on the cover of Time magazine? Well, it was the cover of Newsweek, and it was Jesus with like a film slate, and it said Jesus invades Hollywood, and it was this cool article because it was a story of The Chosen, Jesus Revolution, Sound of Freedom, these other movies, and which multiple companies did, and and it's just afforded this moment where we can sort of leap forward because there's such a buzz about our audience, you know, uh, within in Hollywood right now, and so I think
Hmm.
that timing is everything, and I think the time is now.
I'm looking forward to it. The website, I believe, is thewonderproject.com for, folks can sign up and get updates from you guys at thewonderproject.com. We've been talking to Jon Erwin, director and now the chief content officer of the Wonder Project. Hey, Jon, thanks so much.
As always, man, thanks for being along the journey, and it's amazing to be involved in any industry that's emerging right in front of you, where you're sort of in the arena, you're bleeding on the edge of something that's happening right in front of you, and that's what we've all been doing, for the last decade. And so I'm grateful that you've been given what we've been making constant attention, and it's cool to see these innovations build on each other, and I think we're just getting started with what we can accomplish.
Absolutely.